hand if you ever texted and drove at the same time. My friend lost her best friend to texting and driving. Her friend was supposed to come over that day, so she texted her and asked if she was coming, but she left the message unread. Hours go by, she receives a phone call from her friend's mom, sobbing and saying she's gone. She got in a terrible car accident. Days later, she learns that her friend's phone was unlocked on messages. It was a text message she never sent back. It read, "On my WA." Just the Y was missing. To this day, she still thinks it's her fault for her best friend's crash. Today I'm going to talk about texting and driving. I'm going to talk about the cause of texting and driving, the dangers of texting and driving, how to stop texting and driving. First, I'm going to talk about the cause of texting and driving. How many of you use texting as a primary communication? Studies shows texting and driving in young adults is due to texting being the primary communication. How many of you use your phone to communicate to your friends? Studies show cellular telecommunication supports the needs of an individual to feel like they belong. Reports show when an individual is excluded from social media like text messaging while driving, reduces their feeling of belongingness. Maybe you have no time for friends and work all the time. It results, so you have to stay connected to your job, resulting in the cause for you to text and drive, because the supposed importance of a text and call is a more important reason for calling and texting while driving than supposed as a risk. A study on a scale of 1 through 7, 1 being not at all likely to text and drive, or 7 being extremely likely to text and drive, an average 3.37 rated to send a text message to their work while driving, and an average of 3.98 rated to reply to a message from work while driving. Another cause of texting and driving is ringtone distraction. Who else wouldn't be distracted to look down at their phone when 20 notification ringtones are going off? You would be tempted to reply or read the messages. Also, those notifications causes the driver to feel more social pressure to reply to them. Next, I'm going to talk about the dangers of texting and driving. Texting and driving is 20 times more dangerous than not texting and driving at all. First danger is getting a ticket. I know, it doesn't sound that bad until it gets onto your permanent record, causing a decrease of getting into a job. In the United States, 19 states outlawed texting and driving. In 8 other states put restrictions on younger drivers. As of June 10, 2010, the Washington cell phone law began. If a police pulls you over because your phone was to your ear or you were looking down at your phone and texting, you would receive a fine of $124 or more if you cause a crash. Maybe a ticket wasn't so bad, but crashing because you were too distracted looking down at your phone or being crashed into because someone else was distracted by texting and driving. When you text and drive, it leads to the inability to control your vehicle. It causes incorrect lane changes, the decrease in brake speed, increase in speed variability, and lane position changeability. Studies estimated texting and driving contributed to 1.6 million crashes annually. Taking your eyes off the road for 2 seconds out of the 5 seconds greatly increases your risk to crash. Most text takes your eyes off the road 5 times longer than talking on the phone. For example, let me show you an image. Let's say you're going 55 miles per hour. The average text would take your eyes off the road for as long as to cover a whole football field. That's blindfolded. That's 160 feet long and 160 feet wide. In that time, that would cause an 8 times more greater risk of crashing if you drive a car, and a 23 times more risk of crashing if you were a trucker. If crashing doesn't sound that bad, then boy, you have a problem. Imagine you're texting and driving, and then BAM! You crash and die. What's next? You're gone, right? How would your family and friends feel? Every day, over 8 people are killed, and 1,161 are injured from crashes reported to involve distracted driving. And 10% of all drivers 15 to 19 years old involved in fatal crashes were reported to be distracted at the time of the crash. Finally, I'm going to talk about how to stop texting and driving. If you are like me, you too would think you too would be thinking of ways to stop this dangerous act. First one, but not the easiest one, is put the distractions away. If you're not able to put it away, at least put it on silent. If you still need your phone, then check it at a red light. But I don't advise this because then you would be tempted to reply. And if the red light turns green, that would cause you to text and drive, putting your life into danger and the people around you. What if the message is important, many of you might ask? For example, your boss texts you, and having a crazy boss, you can't afford for her to wait up to 5 minutes. So, in this case, you can pull off to the side of the road, causing, in this way, you would decrease traffic, decrease your chances of crashing, and increase the safety for others. I believe this last one is the most important. It doesn't take one person to make a big change. Therefore, you should inform others about the dangers of texting and driving. When you inform others about texting and driving, they would think twice before looking down at their phone and driving. Studies also show when someone who texts and drives perceives the disapproval from others and observes the risk of crashing, it lowered the likelihood of them to use their cell phone while driving. The more people know about the dangers of texting and driving, will result in less dangers coming our way. Today I've talked to you about texting and driving. I talked about the cause of texting and driving, the danger of texting and driving, and how to stop texting and driving. One final thing to be said is I bet no one wants to lose a loved one because someone was irresponsible and careless about others on the road and texted and drive. Take the example of my friend who lost her best friend to this careless act and is still crying to this day. I don't think anyone would ever want to feel like her or cause others to feel like her. It's up to us to stop texting and driving. So take this first step and turn off your distractions while driving. Thank you.